Good morning, it's Shanna. We are going to do kind of a wrap up and looking forward to this week. So a wrap up of the end of October, because I know last time I did a wrap up, it was sort of, I think it was like mid-October, and a few decks have come in since then for the month of October. And then other decks have come in for the month of November, and since next week is Thanksgiving, I'm not entirely sure I'll have time to do a wrap-up video, and I kind of want to get back on track. I don't want to put it off until December, so that's what we're doing today. So I just got this cute candle from Target, their little dollar spot, and I thought it was so cute. I saw on Kelsey at Folia Tarot, she has one of these little candle holders, and instead of trying to fit one of these giant candles in the frame along with tarot cards, I thought I had one of these, so I was going to use this today. And I ran to Target, as one does on their day off, and they had a bunch of these cute candles. Well, this one was just an empty holder, and I had the tea light, but they also had this one, Cypress and Champagne. It smells really nice. It's light, which I appreciate because I can't stand the overly perfumed ones. And they also had a green Christmas tree, but I liked this one because I felt like it, it could be like November and potentially even through January and not feel like overly Christmassy. And then I also got this one, which I don't know why Nordic things are so popular right now. There's like a couple Nordic colors if you're looking at Stanley mugs, which I have been. But again, it smells really nice, and I thought this was maybe a little bit bigger than what I want, but I wanted some cute candles for filming, so that's where we are with those. Okay, so I think first of all, forgive me, I'm still sick. I start antibiotics tonight, hopefully, and hopefully by next week for Thanksgiving and family visiting, I will be better, so forgive any gravelly voice or sniffling or whatever. So I think what we're going to do is go over the decks that came in end of October up until this point in November, and then I want to pull out and switch out the decks that I have on my shelf. So we'll be going from fall decks to winter decks, which I'm really excited about because for whatever reason, I just haven't really been in the fall deck mood. And I find myself sort of reaching for the winter deck. So I thought, you know what? It's time. We're going to move over into that time and use those decks. So first things first, because I'm the most excited about this one. I've had a search saved on eBay for some time now, and it came through, I want to say a month, give or take, ago. I popped in and it was, I guess I should show you the deck. I'm so excited. Okay. I got Polius Oracle deck 1 and 2, you guys. If you have ever looked for this deck, you know how hard it is to find this first deck. And the creator has said over and over that she has no intention of reprinting. Her website says she has no intention of reprinting. Although I will say, as a caveat, the last time I went in, and maybe this isn't a new thing, maybe I just noticed it last time, at the end of the paragraph saying that she doesn't intend to do any reprints of it, she did say something along the lines of, I don't even remember the wording, but it hinted at that it was something she was considering. Not that she had put it out in the world, but it was something that she had considered. Anyway, keep your eye out if you've been looking for this deck. They do exist. I don't think the person who sold this fully understood what they had because I got both of them for the price of one, essentially. Or maybe they were just super generous, which, sometimes you run across those people and bless them because that's how we get these unicorn decks. So I just wanted to do a quick flip through. Now, I do have a second copy of the Polius Oracle deck too, because the creator had I think we're on her website, it said she had like 14 decks left, and this was, I don't know, 6 months ago. So I grabbed one knowing that once it was gone, it was probably going to stay gone, and then just wanted to keep an eye out for this one. But this came, I will say, funny story. It came as a package, you know, with the books like this, and then the deck. And so I opened it. It was the end of the night. I opened the package to make sure it was there and panicked because there was just one box. So I immediately messaged the eBay seller and I was like, hey, did you forget to include both boxes? Because only one was in there. And she was like, no, I checked. They're both there. So I opened it and both decks are in one box. So I double checked. All the cards are there. They're like in like new condition, and I'm excited to have them both. So unicorn deck, one more unicorn deck checked off my list, and I'm thrilled. So I'll just run through a couple of these cards. If you want to see a full walkthrough, I feel like there are a couple out there, but if you want to see some pairings or my thoughts on this deck, feel free to comment. Zoom in. I'm trying to get better about remembering to zoom in. Feel free to comment and I will do a full flip. The difference between these two is that the second deck has a white background, I believe, if I remember right. Yeah. So this is 2, this is 1. I'm thrilled. I'm not exactly sure how I want to use this deck because there are no keywords, which usually is a deal breaker for me. It's not usually how I use the deck, but it's birds, and period, I guess it's birds. And I wanted to have it in my collection. I wanted to have both of them, and I think the artwork's stunning. I really, really do. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let me know if you want to see more of these. And I'll just put it out there. If you're interested in the second deck, now that I have 2 copies, I'd be willing to send it to you for less than I bought it for. I mean, it's like in brand new condition, so obviously, you know, I'm not going to sell it for like $10. I think I bought it for, I want to say 40, and then shipping or whatever, but I would have to verify that. But yeah, if you're interested in deck number 2, let me know and we can discuss what that looks like. Anyway, all right, that is my first one. Second deck that I brought in end of October is the Millennial Tarot. This is not one that I really had on my radar, but I don't know. I mean, okay, so I was born in 75, which very, very clearly makes me a Gen X. However, I feel sometimes like a lot of references that are for millennials I relate to a lot. And I think that's probably has to do with social media / computer type things. A lot of our experiences are the same, I guess is my point. So, you know, and a lot of this isn't just like, you know, early 80s or anything specific like that, like lockdown. So there's a lot of things in here that makes sense and feels like resonates with me. And I've mentioned it before, I am a sucker for these different colored backgrounds, and just look at this. It's so pretty. This is not the indie version, obviously. This just came out. This is the mass market, so it's a little different than the indie in that I believe the indie on the majors had a keyword, if I remember correctly. But I liked the artwork. Yes, this is an AI deck. This is one of the earlier AI decks, which when I started kind of contemplating whether or not I wanted it, I had no idea. I didn't realize the AI decks went back as far as this did. I think the indie deck came out, I don't know, 2020? Probably. It wouldn't have been before then because it had that lockdown card. So yeah, I didn't realize that the AI had been around for quite so long. I thought it had just been a couple year thing. Although time doesn't exist since lockdown, so that's my only excuse. This is my second AI deck that I've purchased. It will likely be the last. I like this because it sort of suits and fits the time for when it came out. It's a conversation starter. It's, you know, there are a lot of reasons why I bought it. I'm still not fully on board with the concept of AI decks. The only other one I have was the Otherworld. It was a bird one, which it's my only excuse, is that it's a bird one. So, do not love this box. It's cute, it's just the design is bad. Like, who even decided this? I blame a millennial. No, I'm just kidding, I don't know. Anyway, that's the Millennial Tarot. Okay, did I just move that? Oh, I missed the candle. There we go. Okay. Next that I brought in is, I got this Kickstarter in from Mystic Metals, and I ordered the Witch's Runes, not the Elder Futhark, because I have a set of those that I really like, and I did not have a set of Witch's Runes. I want to say I made a set of Witch's Runes, like on stones, which is cute, but I just, you know, this feels more permanent, more forever, kind of. Interesting. Okay, sorry. A UPS car just drove by. Anyway, so these are the the runes. I'm not exactly sure how to use these. That's a blank one. But I love the concept, and it's one of those things that I'm like, okay, if I feel called to get them and I can afford it, I'm going to get them, because I feel like usually when that happens, even if it's not immediate, I usually wind up finding a way to use them. That makes sense for me. And then I think the mat was an add-on, if I remember correctly. And I was tempted to get the larger one of these. A little bit different design. I think there's like a Wheel of the Year one. Again, I'm pretty sure it was Linda at 42 Tarot. Fairly certain she's the one. She had a bigger one of these, and it's beautiful. She did a year ahead spread. I believe that's what the spread was. And I'm tempted to get the bigger one. I don't really need it. Like, you know, of course you don't need a mat to do those spreads, but it looked really good. So, I don't know. We'll see. I have not yet hit the buy button, but temptation is strong. Okay, next up, and I'm kind of speeding through these because I have quite a few here, and I'm limited on alone time that I have today. So, next that's been brought in recently. Okay, so this one I recently just posted about, the Folia Tarot, which I am excited about. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I can't wait to like put it to use and get some enjoyment out of it. So I don't think this one was terribly, actually I was going to say I don't think it was terribly popular, only because I haven't seen a lot of it on social media. But that, just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not out there, and I have no idea how many people backed this. I mean, it could be 4,000 for all I know. I don't know. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It looks great with a little bird tarot. And do I need any more reason than that as the person who made Little Bird Tarot? Probably not. But it does look good with a lot of other things. And I think, especially with the green, I think it goes great. It could be for any season, you know? Spring, summer, fall, and winter. I just think the colors lend themselves beautifully to all the seasons, which I appreciate, especially as an oracle, because I feel like I can pull it in with, you know, whatever tarot I happen to be using. And speaking of that, no, let's come back. We'll come back to that. But that's the Folia, did I say Folia Tarot? Folia Oracle. Arcana, Folia Oracle. I keep leaving out the Arcana. But that's that. And I'm going to pull this back out here in just a minute because I want to see it paired with a couple of the things I'm pulling out for winter. Okay, next that I brought in was the Green Witch's Oracle. I went back and forth on this, but I love the artwork. And I think I'm going to rebuy the other Green Witch's Oracle, the one with the fruits and the vegetables. It was one of my first oracles, and maybe actually my first oracle. My second first oracle, as I might say. When I first came back to tarot in 2021, I think that other Green Witch Oracle was the first one I bought. and I think I need to have it back. But this one's just pretty. I mean, the artwork's very similar to the Arcana Folia. I like it. It's very cottagecore, I guess, you know, you could call it. And I think it goes beautifully with a lot of the things I have, including, actually, I believe this was one that I forgot to write as a new purchase. So I will leave this out so I remember to do that later. I try to write down each of the decks that I bring in so that at the end of the year I can see what I brought in for the year. Oops. This is a repurchase, as I mentioned. I'm so weird about cardstock, or I was so weird about cardstock. When I first kind of started learning that there were different cardstocks and discovered that this one, the first time I bought this deck, I didn't feel like it was shuffleable. So I rehomed it. It was pretty, but I struggled to shuffle it, and I don't know, I made a dumb decision and rehomed it to a friend. Not that that was a dumb decision to give it to her, but I should have kept it. Luckily, it's mass market, it's inexpensive, so I repurchased it. And I think, especially in the winter months, it will be a beautiful deck to take on my hikes with me. And I have a few options of those decks now, which is nice. I like having options for something specific. And this is so pretty. I love this together. I don't think I've tried putting these together just yet. Anyway, that is Midnight Magic Tarot and the Green Witch's Oracle. I think I'm going to leave this Midnight Magic gets to stay out. I like the dark, you know, the black backgrounds of these for winter. Just kind of has that dark half of the year vibe. Kind of those jewel tones. I'm going to take a drink. I'm so congested. It's annoying. I'm excited to get on medicine to start feeling better. Anyway, all of that aside, actually, put away on the shelf what I can. So yes, I'm thrilled to have this one, and I've come to the conclusion that, you know, I kind of mentioned it a minute ago, that I don't necessarily need to know what I want a deck for to buy it, because a lot of times, as long as I love the artwork, I feel like its job will come to me eventually, and so far that's proven true. So yeah, I love having this one. It's a beautiful one. Okay, I think the last one that I brought in over October and November, the very last one, is the Lost Oracle by Fiona Horn. And I know this one's been making the rounds on social media. It has the multicolored backgrounds, which I love. And where it's darker, it suits the, you know, the second half of the year. Love that. And I just realized I was watching Fairlight Tarot. She featured this deck in one of her last videos and mentioned, I don't know, sometimes, let me finish one thought. She mentioned that the element symbols are in this deck. So there's air, earth, water, and fire, which I literally just pulled this card like the day before I watched that video, and I didn't put that together. I have a hard time seeing patterns, I guess, unless it's all together. Once it's together, I can see it and I can't unsee it. But so last night I came up here and found each of the element cards, which I'm excited about because I cannot keep track of which one is which. So it's nice to have this visual to where I can kind of have the, you know, this in my mind to remember that this is water, right? And so I think that'll be a good way to learn. I still haven't figured out, so then I Googled it. I'm like, why is this symbol, what does this symbol mean, earth? And I don't know. I think I was in a hurry, so I didn't really like dig into it. But I feel like once I know why that symbol means earth and water and air and fire and so on, it will make more sense and I'll be able to remember it. But until then, it still confuses me. So So I love this deck. I think it'll be great for fall and winter. I probably will use it in early spring, but I don't know. Maybe I'd use it in the summer. I don't know. It has those warm tones for summer. We'll see. And I just love that the crone is in it. She's just, I love this card. It's beautiful. So that is the Lost Oracle. Also in October, my husband and I went to visit my daughter and her husband. They live in Texas, which is where we moved here from. And so it was fun to go revisit some of the places and get to see them and, you know, their new place. Now let's look at the decks that I am going to be using for winter, December, January. Okay, I bought the Mysteries of the Black Madonna, I want to say 2 years ago, and I've not once pulled it out to use. And I'm very curious about it. So I'm going to set it out on my shelf so that I can use it. I think the biggest thing that keeps me from using this deck is when I bought it, I did not realize how, I hate to use the term, but I'm going to say it. I think they're poorly lit. These are essentially shadow boxes, and maybe there's a better term, but that's the term that's coming to my mind. Shadow boxes that are put together by the artist, and they're gorgeous. There's a ton of work that's been put into them. I just don't feel like you can see a lot of the details, and that was disappointing for me. But it does feel like this time of year, especially with Mary, all of that. So, yeah, I want to try to work with it. I want to see how it works for me. I mean, I don't know, for all the work that went into it, I feel like you can't even see the face on this one. Am I the only one that feels that way? I don't know, it's such a disappointment. And maybe that's unimportant. I don't know, maybe that was intentional, you know? And even if it wasn't intentional, it's okay. Like, I'm not disparaging the creator. For me personally, it was something that has so far kept me from using the deck. One of the reasons. The other reason obviously being just, you know, this story, I guess, really doesn't resonate with me. But it was such a unique deck, and people talked about it so lovingly. It was one that I knew I wanted to have in my collection. So that is that. If you have oracles that you like to pair with this and would like to share those with me, I would love to hear what you pair. I like this one a lot. I have not played with it, like, at all, so I don't really, maybe that's a video I can make. A pairs video for the Black Madonna. Anyway, I won't flip through the whole deck, but I am excited to get to know it a little bit. All right, let me get this put back. All right, next that I intend to use for winter, this Earthly Souls and Spirits Oracle. This is a funny deck for me. I adore the artwork. It feels very nostalgic, very early 2000s. Like, I just love it. You know, it's not going anywhere. This is the indie version. But for whatever reason, I kind of struggled to use it, and I'm not really sure why. And I don't know. I've pulled it out in the fall because it's, you know, obviously it's witchy. And it just sort of doesn't really sit in that space for me. Like, I love this. It's so pretty. And maybe it's the keywords that aren't quite hitting for me, but it also feels very wintry. So I'm going to keep it out. I did use it a couple times this season, which worked well for me. I think, and maybe it's just picking the right pair, you know, which tarot to use it with. Or maybe it's just a matter of picking a single card and using it on its own. But I'm going to keep it out and use it over winter. So just this artwork is so, I don't know, it's so, it makes me feel a certain way, and I don't really know what that word is other than maybe cozy. I like the feeling. So, Earthly Souls and Spirits Oracle. I love that one. Okay. Next that I'll be using in the winter season is the Polius Oracle. I think this can lend itself to any season, just, you know, where it's the cream and the black. I think it works for any. And I love the keywords, I love the vibe, and I think that it goes well with a lot of decks. I did buy the guidebook that came separately, which I'm super thrilled about because I do enjoy the poems that go with each. So that was a purchase well worth, and I don't think the book was very expensive, if I remember correctly. So, and again, multicolored backgrounds. It's not, you know, it's the two colors, but I don't know, that just thrills me. It's a thing that makes me happy, so yes. So that is the Polius Oracle. These gorgeous edges, I love them. All right, next, obviously, Seasons of the Witch. Oops, putting away Samhain. And pulling out Yule. I'm not sure why I had this one down, probably so I can put it away. So I will do just that. So, Seasons of the Witch Yule. This is the first Seasons of the Witch deck I bought because there are so few options for Yule or Christmas decks that don't really work for me, that don't speak to me. So yeah, I went with this one and then immediately went out and bought the Samhain one because I was like, yeah, no, I think I liked it enough. And then, as we all do, or, you know, a lot of us do, I was like, well, if I have these two, I should get the Austera one. And then the artist changed, and I loved the new artist, her artwork. I like that artwork more than this artwork. I like this, but I prefer the other. So, of course, you know, it was a sealed deal at that point. I had to have all of them. So, I'll be getting the last one in the spring. But I do like the vibe of this for Christmas/Yule. I appreciate that it's not like Christmassy, you know, it has that dark half feeling, but while still lending itself to the vibe, right? So I appreciate that. Oh, I'm reading, in case you're looking for a book to read for the season, I'm reading Grim Curiosities. It's by the same author who wrote, man, now I can't remember. I'll try to insert it here. And it's good. It's a little bit spooky and a little romance. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm about halfway through it. I'm listening to it on Audible. So if you're looking for something, highly recommend. At least, you know, halfway through the book, I highly recommend. Okay. You know what? Let's keep this out, and I will show the next deck that I'm going to use for the season. I can put them together and see how they pair. Oh, I lied. Okay, so I have 3 AI decks. Now, full disclosure, when I bought this deck, before I bought it, I looked through the creator's Etsy, I looked through her Instagram posts, and nothing that I read said it was AI. And, you know, people had asked, a lot of people had asked. And the creator basically said, with my understanding of the way she worded it, was that she took old cards, and I don't think she ever used the term AI. But I think it's AI. And I think that because she has since come out with multiple other decks that are almost, I want to say almost identical. Like she has a spring one and a summer one, and she just came out this year with one that matches this deck, but an oracle. And a lot of the images are very much the same, just a different season, which is disappointing. However, I do very much enjoy this deck, and it's in my possession. I feel like I did my due diligence. You know, when I went looking for it, I trusted what she said, which was not, in my opinion, full disclosure of how she created it. And that is to say, I don't know how she created it. Let me be very clear. I don't know that this is AI. I'm just assuming based on how many others have come out that have looked very, very similar. So it doesn't really change this deck for me. So far, this is the best seasonal Yule one that I've found as far as tarot goes. That's not tacky or cheesy or overly, I don't know, Santa Claus and candy canes, you know. I enjoy it. So it is what it is. It's in my collection. I'm keeping it. I'm using it. I'm making the best of it because I do enjoy it. And I think these two are a lovely pair. I really like the way they feel together. This one feels more serious, and I am a more serious, you know, I prefer a more serious deck, generally speaking. So for that reason, I do very much enjoy it. I like the colors. And it feels very much like vintage postcards. So again, you know, maybe they were, maybe they are, and she's just reworked them. I have no idea. These are the backs, which this was a big reason, a big pull for why I bought the deck. I think they're beautiful. That's another thing. A lot of, you know, Christmas themed decks just have like these garish backgrounds, and I don't know. They're not my style. And this is. So I'm excited to have it. And I have no regrets. So I will say though, I've become much more discerning in purchasing AI decks because for all the reasons, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Actually, I do know. I don't love the energy that most of them put out. I don't think they have the kind of energy that I want. So I tend to avoid them. And you know, that's not to say AI is evil. I am against AI. I'm not saying any of that. It's just, generally speaking, the ones I've seen they just don't work for me in the way that hand-drawn art does. So, enough of a ramble on that. All right, two more here. Now, this one's kind of strange. I know a lot of people use this one for summer, but I really feel like this one lends itself to this kind of cooler season. I'm not sure why exactly, maybe just because it's very blue. But the Northern Animal Tarot feels wintry to me, and I like to pull it out for winter. So I was just checking the camera, make sure everything's as it should be. And I do enjoy this one. You know, I guess there are multiple cards that have that winter season in them. You know, they're wearing coats and they've got blankets, and so Northern Animal. I feel like we've all seen this one. I don't necessarily need to go through all of them, but yes, this will be on my shelf. I'm excited. I don't know why I feel like I want to shuffle this. Is that weird? Gotta get rid of that stagnant energy that it's built up all summer. Should we draw a card? This isn't the last deck. I've actually got three more to show, but I feel like it's telling me something. Ace of Cups. It's the third time I've pulled that this week. So, okay. Interesting. I'm going to set this guy aside and look at the guidebook here in a little bit when we're done here. Actually, you know what? Let's read it right now. Because what if it's not even just for me? What if it's for you? What if the deck wants you to hear it? So let me pull out the book here. All right, floating on a lily pad. Floating on a lily pad with a white bird of peace on the edge gazing at the sky. Now your cup is full and flowing over, fresh, renewed emotions, deep love, and care for yourself. Water yourself so you can bloom and grow at this time. You are fully connected to life and all its offerings. Drink in all the blessing heading towards you. Drink in all the blessing heading towards you. Okay, I like it. Oh, shoot. I try to keep the book between the main deck and the extra cards, but I do want to leave this out. Okay, 2 more decks. This one, I believe, was it last year or the year before? I don't remember. This is Remembering the Sweet Fool. This was a Kickstarter. I bought it after the Kickstarter. I believe the deck is still available. And I love it. It's photography. She's got this deck and I believe 2 oracles available. And this one feels very December, January, winter, dark half to me. Ooh, look at this one. This reminds me of this deck. Oh, I bet that would be pretty together. Sorry, side quest. Look how pretty that is. Should we look at these together? Look at that, the way the purple is. That's nice. Are we in frame? Yes. I won't go into what the plants are right now. However, if you would like, as usual, if you want to see a full flip through of these 2 specifically and how they work together, feel free to let me know. This is definitely one I'm going to explore later because I think that's gorgeous together. I really like the tones, kind of the peachy tans and the greens. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of up and down here as I discard. Sweetgrass. Yeah, that's really pretty together. Okay, well, new pairing unlocked. Interesting. And I love this deck. If you have not heard me talk about this deck before, it is the Botanicals deck. And it is pleasantly witchy. I kind of dug into the creator a little bit, and if I'm not mistaken, she calls herself a witch, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe she doesn't call herself, but she does witchy things. She's got all kinds of stuff. She talks about magic and cauldrons, and there's rituals, you know, on the back of each of these cards. And it's a lovely deck. I think this is probably my favorite botanical deck. So that one has so far stayed out on my shelf. And Remembering the Sweet Fool will now go on the shelf as well for winter. All right, next. Oops, I forgot to put the guidebook away. We'll get that. All right, 2 more decks. This one's kind of random. I don't know why it feels like winter to me, but it does, so that's when I use it. And that's the Soul Cats. I adore this deck. I don't think I have, actually that's not true. I have one other deck, cat deck, and that is the little square one. It's been out for a minute. I don't remember what it's called. And I think I'm good. This is all of the cat decks that I need. I don't really use it a lot, but I do enjoy it this time of year. And I think it gives beautiful readings. I have no issue asking it questions, you know, human questions coming from cats. I guess the artwork is evocative enough that it works for me with this one. I love this hermit. So, I don't know. It's a favorite. And I think I've mentioned it before. I will probably likely get any deck that Adam Ohlers illustrates because they're just, I very much enjoy his art. Let's look at all of them. I love him. They just, I don't know. I love their faces. I love the antics they get up to in these cards without being silly, right? I don't think they're silly. So. That is Soul Cats. This is the back. Sorry, I'm terrible at showing the backs of all of these. Lucky for us, we have Google, I guess. Okay, last deck that I will be pulling out, or have pulled out to use for winter. And I apologize, I don't remember the name of this. I will link it below and potentially put the name here on the screen. This is just a little stock art oracle that I found on Etsy. And I actually found it through Christine Roselle. She had it last year, and I just, for whatever reason, I don't know, I just find it charming and sweet, and it just feels like a cozy deck that I can pull out for winter and pair with a lot of these other tarot that I've shown today. I like that it's coffee. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I like coffee, in case that's not obvious. It's so pretty. The keywords are nice. Yeah. I think the keywords are, I mean, obviously the keywords are always super important. Like they have to hit right for the user. And these do for me. So, and with that, I think that is all I have for this week's video. Actually I have notes here that I did not look at once. Okay, Year in the Wildwood. Let's discuss for just a moment. I won't pull the deck out because I just have a little bit to say. I'm still technically doing the Year in the Wildwood study with the book. I did the first week and then I got sick, and so maybe that's why I haven't kept up with it. Although, to be fair, it was this week that I had the second, the next step in this process, so I'm not technically behind yet. But I don't know. It feels like homework, and that's kind of annoying to me, so I'm not sure I'm going to continue doing it. And maybe it's just a later thing for me. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to. But, so that's how that's going. If you also started a Year in the Wildwood, I know I mentioned a couple videos ago, if you started it as well, how is it going for you? I'd love to hear. Let me know in the comments. Okay, one last thing. I say that, there's probably like 4 other things. I got this pendulum with the Mystic Metals order, and I think it was also an add-on. And I just love it. I don't have a metal pendulum. All my pendulums are stones. So do you want to see all of them? Sure you do. Okay, so this was my first, This one is my first pendulum that I got on Etsy. Has like a bird skull, and I think this is supposed to be what's the word? I don't remember. I will put it if I can remember, but I am suspicious that maybe it's not actually the stone and that maybe it's just man-made. I don't know why. It doesn't feel like stone, and I don't know how to tell. I've Googled it. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's real. So I have not been using it because it makes me feel weird to use it if it's not really what I think it is. anyway, all of that aside. Then there was one day my husband and I went to the coast, and I walked into a stone, like a crystal shop, and I walked past, they had like just a small display, probably like 12 or 15 pendulums, and as I walked by, this one started like vibrating, just this one. So obviously it had to come home with me. This one's moonstone, rainbow moonstone. I think it's gorgeous. So far, this one's the most powerful, I guess. It gives me the best readings, but I haven't really tried this one other than just once. And then while I was in Texas this last month, I dragged my daughter into several witchy shops, which was very gracious of her to humor me because she's not into any of this stuff at all. That would be my second daughter. So my first daughter, she was a good sport, and she walked around and looked at all the things with me. But this was in one of the shops, and I thought it was so pretty. I love that it's got this little crystal, at the end that you hold, and then the smoky quartz, which I love smoky quartz. I think it's probably my favorite crystal. Hopefully that's in focus. And then I just really liked the chain. I thought the chain was pretty. Trying to get it in the shot. I just thought that was really pretty. So now I have 4 pendulums, and I don't feel bad about it. Okay, let's see. Oh, books that I've read. I don't know that have I finished any? Let's take a peek. Okay, so it looks like, and I don't remember if I've already talked about these in my last video, so forgive me if I have. I finished Once and Future Witches in October. I gave it 4 stars. I wrote in here that I enjoyed it enough that I would like to try the next book, and then realized after I wrote that I don't think there is a next book. I think that it was just a standalone, so that made me laugh. It was good for, the season, and I listened to it on Audible and enjoyed that. That was the thing. So for Audible, on this particular book, the narrator, her voice reminded me of Jodie Foster, which is not necessarily a problem at all. I like Jodie Foster, but it really took me out of the story for about 3/4 of it. So that was a bummer, but besides that, I enjoyed it. The only other book I finished in October was Haunting of Ashburn House, and now that I'm saying that, I do think I talked about it. And it was just an okay book. So yeah, I'm on to other books now. I'll save those for next month's finished books. But all of that being said, I think I'm done rambling, and thank you for being here and watching. I love your comments. I love to hear what you think. Tell me what you're up to, or not. Just give it a little like, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here, and I will catch up with you guys next week. Bye.